this goes back about a year ago. I recognized when I read an article in People magazine, and Robin, if you'll give out that article. And it was in the November of 13 issue of People magazine, and it involves a woman's plight up in, or rather down in Florida, and I'm sure a lot of you, excuse me, remember Rebecca Stanwich, which is the young lady who was cyberbullied and climbed up onto the cement tower and jumped off to her death. And a beautiful, gorgeous young lady. But I recognized at that point that our society is having a problem with cyberbullying, and I made a number of calls across the country to other, we are an Internet Crimes Against Children task force, and I made calls to other task forces, 61 of us across the country. And I was getting the same report back from them that yes, they were seeing, not necessarily investigating those types of incidents, but they were seeing a number of them. In fact, we had in excess of, I think, 12 to 15 last year in this country, and it usually starts in the schools. Nearly 43% of the kids have been bullied online. 1 in 4 has had it happen more than once, and bullying victims are 2 to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide. As some of you will know, especially the media from Roanoke and Lynchburg, you will know that my office has been protecting our young people for the last 18 years through our Internet Crimes Against Children task force. And I made a decision after reading this article in People magazine was to create a training program that could be used by schools, law enforcement, parents, whoever, and other concerned organizations about this problem of cyberbullying. I contacted the National White Collar Crime Center. I'm fortunate to be a board member of the National White Collar Crime Center, and located the office. One of the offices is right here in Richmond, Virginia, and explained my concept and idea to Don Brackman, who is the director, and Ken Brooks, executive director of the National White Collar Crime Center, and Ken is here with us this morning. We'll make a few comments. Their response was to say, just how quick do you want it done? They immediately rallied the creative staff at NW3C, and after I convinced a donor in California to commit to the funding of the project, then the online and DVD training program was developed by the National White Collar Crime Center. We'll have copies. Any of you that want a copy of the DVD, it'll be up here and it'll be available for you to take with you. It is our, both National White Collar Crime Center and the Safe Surfing Foundation's desire is to get this program into the hands of every school system in the United States and every school resource officer in the United States. It's a problem. It's an issue that we need to address, we need to be aware of, and I have found in talking to law enforcement throughout the country, mainly through the ICAC task forces and other sheriff's organizations, that they're really not that familiar with this problem, and it is a problem. Whenever we have one young person commit suicide because of bullying, regardless of whether it's on the playground in school. And when I was in school many years ago, yeah, we had bullying. We usually had, I grew up in a country in a rural setting, and most of our bullies were big old farm boys that thought everybody ought to be a farmer, and some of us weren't. So we got bullied. But it usually lasted. A couple of blows would be thrown out on the playground, and that was it. But now it's through this cyber world, and it just never stops with some of these kids, and it's got to stop. And mainly, what we want to do is for school administrators, teachers, school resource officers, law enforcement, school bus drivers, to know some of the areas and some of the things to look out for in this cyberbullying arena. With that, I would ask, we're delighted this morning to have a number of speakers with us. Secretary of Public Safety, Brian Moran. Brian has been a big supporter of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Forces, is certainly I consider him a friend. He is all for public safety, and I would ask him if he would step to the microphone and make a few comments.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. Thank you for attending this important announcement. I'm here for a couple of reasons. First of which is to give testimony to Sheriff Mike Brown and the Safe Surfing Foundation. They have performed fantastic work in this area. I first got to know Mike and Camille Cooper and representatives from Safe Surfing when I was proposing we fund the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in the Commonwealth. We successfully funded that and provided funds to Sheriff Brown to perform his task force, and then in the Northern Virginia, the Virginia State Police provide services. And we found that there were literally thousands of individuals using the internet to perpetrate heinous crimes. The story of Alicia Kozakevich comes to mind immediately, and that of course has swept the nation with Alicia's laws so that we can properly fund the interdiction, prevention, and then apprehension of these internet predators. So I really congratulate Sheriff Mike Brown on his efforts. Second, I want to bring to attention to cyberbullying. Indeed, this is a problem throughout the nation and here in the Commonwealth, and we want to take whatever steps necessary to prevent it. Fabulous work the Department of Criminal Justice Services does, the Sheriff's Association, represented here by John Jones, and other law enforcement members of the community to make sure that we can indeed prevent instances of cyberbullying. On a personal note, I am the father of a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old son. In years past, parents used to dread the ringing of the phone during the evening. Well, the phone doesn't ring anymore. They are constantly on their phones. They tell us, iPhones, the computers, they tell us they're doing homework, and we hope they are. But that is the means by which individuals are communicating. So I'm very familiar with these cases because I can see that with my own children, that they are vulnerable populations using the computer and the internet for communication. So we need to make sure that our parents are trained in preventing. We need to know our educators are indeed informed of this threat, as well as school bus drivers and others who come in contact with our young people. So here for that twofold purpose, honored, pleased to be able to be here, and certainly support the efforts of the Safe Surfing Foundation and Sheriff Mike Brown. Thank you.
Good morning. As Sheriff Brown stated, I'm Ken Brooks. I'm serving as Deputy Director of the National White Collar Crime Center. It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning on behalf of the Director, Don Breckman, who couldn't be with us this morning. And I'm here in his place. And thank you for taking time to come, not only the media, but all distinguished guests. I would like to thank you for being present this morning on this very important issue. You might be surprised to hear that according to recent research, 1 in 4 teens have been victimized by bullying. Adults today, as we were growing up, we did not have the internet and social media. So cyberbullying is something that we didn't have to deal with as children or as teens. Some of us may have to confront bullies, as the sheriff said, but those issues were settled on the playgrounds and not in cyber world. Today, our children deal with it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Because we live in an age in which our young people communicate online, and technology and associated trends are just a fingertip away, parents themselves and our kids have to be aware of what's available to them to understand the cyberbullying issue and to deal with it. Cyberbullying, Our Children, Our Problem, is a 30 to 45-minute interactive training program designed to be a resource both for adults who might be exposed to the problem for the first time, but also for teens themselves. It addresses ways to cope with and respond to cyberbullying, including effective strategies to communicate and work with dealing with conflict and conflict resolution, as well as incident reporting. The training looks at cyberbullying through the eyes of teens, their families, educators, and schools. It follows one teen through her day, showing the viewer how she is affected by cyberbullying. It also includes information from experts on the cyberbullying issue. Finally, I would like to thank the Safe Surfing Foundation for joining with us in this training. Without the support of the Leon Lowenstown Foundation for providing its generous support. Cyberbullying is a serious issue with harmful and potential lethal consequences. The training shows that there are actions both victims and their educators and parents, as well as our law enforcement community, can take to overcome this challenging issue. As Tina Meyer of the Megan Meyer Foundation notes, teens need to know they can make it to the other side. Thank you.
Now, if my executive director for the National Sheriff's Association, Jonathan Thompson. Jonathan, would you make a few comments, please?
It's a great pleasure. The state of Virginia has a true set of leaders standing behind me that have seen something that has come from literally nothing to be a collection of incredibly important, incredibly influential, and most importantly, people that believe with their hearts as well as with their jobs, and that's something that's as important as this. I was sitting here listening to the statistics that I heard, and it shocked me that 1 in 4, that's 1 in 4 children are affected by some form of cyberbullying, as I would call it distance bullying, because anonymity is gone in a physical altercation, but over the internet you can now do something that you've never been able to do. And I think, Mike, Sheriff Brown, what you're doing, the leadership you've taken, not just for your own electorate and your own people of your county, but for the state of Virginia and for the nation, is incredibly important. Sheriff Brown has brought to the National Sheriff's Association a sense of vigor and importance on a topic that is well beyond just the reach of his county and certainly beyond the reach of Virginia. Mr. Secretary, your leadership has been stellar. And the people behind me, I have to say thank you so very much for this vitally important mission. The Sheriff's Association, the National Sheriff's Association, stands with you, and we will encourage you at every step of the way. Sheriff Brown, thank you.
Thank you, John.
You know, it's always a pleasure to come here because you know Mike Brown's going to lead, and he is not disappointed again. I know the last time we were in this room, he was protecting law enforcement officers with the bulletproof vest issued through his initiative. Again, we're here talking about an important public safety program because of Mike's efforts, and I want to make sure, and I'm here for one purpose, to make sure everybody understands the Virginia Sheriff's Association is fully behind this. We're fully behind Mike. We have 8,300 deputy sheriff members, and every one of the Virginia sheriffs are members of the association. And Mike, you don't know this yet, but you're going to get an invitation in just a few minutes to appear at the spring conference to make sure that all of the sheriffs have this and have access to it. We certainly appreciate, again, your leadership and pulling the team that I have behind me together to make sure it happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Gooch, and I'm with the Department of Criminal Justice Services. But more importantly, I'd like to tell you that the Virginia Center for School and Campus Safety is housed at the Department of Criminal Justice Services. And the Virginia Center for School and Campus Safety has a very long-standing tradition of providing training and resources to law enforcement working in schools, with school security officers and school administrators. This morning, this announcement is particularly exciting because it again represents another partnership and an ongoing partnership, I might add, in an area that's of significance to us. So we really want to highlight the importance of partnerships in this world. We are especially pleased to work with Safe Surfing and of course with Sheriff Brown, who is, I might add, one of the preeminent folks that we have in our state, internet crimes against children, so we can't say enough about our partnership with the sheriff and with Safe Surfing. And it goes without saying that National White Collar Crime Center has been a great partner as well. In fact, last year they worked with us and provided DVDs for all 750 of conference participants on social media and school violence, a conference that we had last year, and they're planning to be there again this year at our summer conference for schools. So we can't speak more highly of our ability to reach our constituents and the partnerships and the value that we at our agency gain from working with you, working with the National White Collar Crime Center, and working with the Sheriff's Association. So we really want to highlight that. So on behalf of everyone at DCGS, and I might say with the support of our secretary, we thank you for this opportunity.
Teresa, thank you very much. Now we'll come to a part of the program that I would prefer we didn't have to do, and that is to recognize a parent of one of the victims. That this you'll see in the trailer that we'll run for you in just a minute. At the end, this trailer is dedicated to 3 victims of bullying, cyberbullying. And she said, I'm going to cry, and I'm probably going to cry too, so I'll just cry with you. Tammy Garcia, Ruben Garcia. Ruben, her husband, couldn't be here today because of a business appointment. She is accompanied by Darrell Williams, retired assistant chief out of California. But I appreciate, Tammy, you coming here. I know it's difficult for you. It's difficult for me. We're both in the same fraternity. She lost a son. I lost a son, not to bullying, but hers was to bullying. I appreciate so very much you being here. It means a lot to us. And let me tell you, the route getting here last night, because she is from California, was something else. But they made it. They got in this morning. I think you went to the hotel maybe to throw a little water on your face, and then you walked up. Was it that close?
No, we took a cab.
Oh, you took a cab. Okay. But she is here, and what we would like to do, Robin, if you would help me. And if you would come up, I know you don't want to do this. What we want to do is, what her son Michael Garcia, Michael Ruben Garcia, we've made him an honorary position, an honorary deputy sheriff in Bedford County Sheriff's Office. It is with a great deal of honor and pleasure that I, Michael J. Brown, High Sheriff of Bedford County, Virginia, name in remembrance Michael Ruben Garcia, honorary position of Deputy Sheriff. This award is presented to the family of Michael in his remembrance. May the dedication of this cyberbullying educational effort in his memory help ease your pain knowing that you are helping others. Michael J. Brown. That's all right. And what we've also done we've done a ID card and the little badge behind it, and it's don't you worry, sweetie. And it is making Michael Garcia honorary deputy Bedford County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you so much.